Welcome to the Business Leaders Legacy Podcast, the show where we go behind the scenes of business leaders to uncover their vision, strategies, and challenges they face along the way. My name is Chris Bruner. I'm the CEO of Simple AI Solutions and the host of today's podcast. I'm excited to have Brett Myles, owner and founder of LeadWell. Brett is known for helping leaders, teams get healthier, aligned, and high performing by installing a leadership operating system, a measurable framework that helps self-awareness, trust, alignment, leading to significant growth in engagement, performance, and retention. So, Brett, thank you for being here. I'm excited to jump in and hear more. Can you please share with the listeners a little bit about you, your journey, and what LeadWell does?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. So I started my business, LeadWell, almost 2.5 years ago, October of 2023, after being in ministry for, over 16 years. And so I was around different leaders all the time, great ones and not so great ones, and was in leadership positions all the way back to my college days when I would work at a kid's summer camp in Missouri. And so I've always been interested in what it means to be a good leader and the impact that a really great leader can have on somebody, whether it's a parent, coach, a teacher, a mentor, whatever it might be, a boss. And um, so yeah, we got to a point in our family's kind of story where we had three little kids at home, and the race and the pace of ministry life became really hard and challenging, and needed to figure out a way to generate more income than what I was doing. And so made the shift to the corporate world, which was new for me, but the work itself doesn't feel new. It feels like the same kind of people work that I was doing, just in a different space with some different tools and frameworks. So that's where we are today, and I'm excited to get to hang and talk with you.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. It's so honorable. We were just talking right before starting the filming. It's so cool to see your involvement in ministry and it's awesome to see how that's really kind of prepped you to help run your business and do what you're doing in your business. And
Yeah.
so cool, super cool. I'm stoked. And so diving into it a little bit more, right? You mentioned, 16 years of ministry and now you help leaders fix problems that come, back in their teams. And so, what makes you so passionate about helping others within their organization install leadership operating system to create this like transformation?
Yeah. So what I think a lot of things that I see and have seen in my kind of adult life is um, leadership development has looked like, hey, we're going to do this one thing together, or we're going to bring in this person for this day, or let's attend this conference. And because that's where all the learning and opportunity for insight, yeah, happens. Or we're gonna do this book study together. And what happens is you have those experiences, or you have those events, or you bring people in, or you read that book, and then almost always you go, that was really great, but now what? Right? And it's like, well, how do we turn this into something that is showing up every day, that is actually driving us forward, that is ingrained into the fabric of who we are and what we do. And so the company that I got trained and certified through is called Giant, Giant Worldwide. It's based out of Oklahoma City, and the approach is really different. And so um, they were like, we want to aim at transformation. The goal is not a transmission of information, it's transformation. And so with that comes very like human on human work and consistent work over time. So the organizations that I work with that have the best success are the ones where I get to come in and lay out this framework for what it looks like to be self-aware and others aware. We install kind of some new language and some new tools, and then create rhythms for how are you working to be self-aware and others aware? How are you thinking about leading yourself and leading your team and showing up for your organization and how is this showing up at home. So it's a whole like system of thinking and a whole approach to uh to a healthy culture, if you will. Um and we don't just run to let's try to make you more efficient and more effective in your performance. We dial it all the way back to how do you know how you communicate with people and how people experience you? And so we create a lot of language and rhythm around that because once you can understand that, then you can really work to build and repair trust with people. And that's what gets you aligned as a team or as an organization to be like, okay, we are in this together. We understand each other. I understand your strengths and weaknesses and how you see the world and how I see the world. And now we know how to tackle this mission and vision more
Mhm.
effectively. So then that impacts how you execute and how you maximize everybody's capacity. And so it's less of a, hey, here's a seminar for your team, and more of a progressive rollout of how do we become a high performing team with a really healthy culture that is self-aware and others aware, and that when we start to bring people into it, we're speaking this language so deeply, and we believe in this approach so much that people just get grafted into it,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to them showing up and being like, "What are you guys talking about?" So that's what I mean when I talk about kind of a leadership operating system. It's and for most people, I'm like, "Give me a year," right? It's like we're when it comes to culture shaping and installing new approaches and new language, it's a lot like, trying to turn a cruise ship. It doesn't happen immediately.
Yeah.
It takes time. And so, and like any investment, the longer you invest, the more return there typically is. Um, so yeah, over the course of 12 months, we dive into 6 different kind of trainings, but then there's also these moments where we break the group into smaller pieces and have real intentional coaching opportunities with accountability and how are you working this into your actual life and work. And so there's a whole system created to help people get where they want to be. So that's what that means.
Yeah, that is so cool, and that is so, like, so necessary nowadays. It's so easy to get caught up in just, like, the hustle and the grind, and for organizations just to be like, "What is," "Where's the throughput, efficiency, this, that," but, like, when you really kinda get down to, like, the core of it, right, and start there, start where the culture is, start where it sounds like it's, like, so needed in so many companies, and so
Yeah.
that is really, really cool, really interesting, awesome. It makes me excited just to think, like, how many organizations that need it, but also, like, can really, really improve from this system, and so that is super cool,
Yeah,
and
it's been fun to see people uh really grow and
yeah.
kind of unpack this whole new level of like, oh, I didn't know we could do it like this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I imagine that is awesome. Probably I would think, like, the impact is probably one of the most important parts, and so that is so cool, so cool. I'm thinking, thinking about, like, trends, are there any, like, new trends with technology or any strategies that you're seeing within the leadership development industry? And if so, are you using any?
Yeah, okay, great question. So obviously AI is at the forefront of everything.
Mhm.
Um, and what Giant has done, which is really cool. So anytime someone decides to work with someone like me, who it lives under this giant umbrella. So I'm kind of like function as an affiliate. So I pay to be certified with them, to have like the access to use their name and their tools and their network and have access to all the other community of guides, we call them, across the country. But like I have my own business. It's like my own LLC. Nothing goes to them outside of kind of my annual affiliate fee, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what they've done though in resourcing people like me is like when I create an account for a new client, everything lives kind of on this giant OS platform. And there's like a library of content that is greater than anything we could get into in a year. So like just people have access to things that they if they wanted to play around and read more and watch more and learn, like, they could. It also houses all of the assessments that we do with them. So there's a 5 voices personality assessment. It's all derived from the science of Myers-Briggs, but it's way more simple, way more visual and sticky. And there's also these team performance assessments. So all these assessments are housed in there, but also one thing that they developed in the last year was this, closed source small language learning model, like AI model. So there's this AI component on the website that's built in for every team. And they took all these millions of data points from anybody who's ever used their things before in the past. Um, and all the things that went into building the 5 voices and their company, and even some of the things that were involved in how they built the Myers-Briggs system. And so you can go in. So if I'm in there with my team and I'm like, let's say I have a meeting with like the head of sales coming up and we typically don't get along, then I can go, hey, help me prepare for this meeting with Bill, um, taking into account my leadership voice and his leadership voice, and how should I be prepared for that meeting? And then it'll spit out a whole game plan for me with how I'm wired, how he's wired, and how to collaborate in a way that's going to be the most successful, right? So that my expectations of him are accurate. I'm prepared for how he's probably going to show up in that, and what might rub me the wrong way, but what I need to remember about that, and what's true and what's not true. And so there's this really cool AI component that people have access to, like a lot of us do with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using. Um, and so it just takes some of the guesswork out of it, right? Especially for folks that are like, I don't know that I understand all of the language and the tools at an expert level like you do. It
Mhm.
takes some of that guesswork out, right? Where it's like, okay, I know that she's a nurturer and I'm a pioneer, but what are the things? How might this go badly? And so that's a really cool feature. But honestly, man, the rest of it outside of what the tech that happens on Giant's platform, the work that I do is pretty analog, and I think people love it. So, like, it is person to person, it is human focused and human led. And I make actual paper workbooks for them. Now they're nice, but I make workbooks for people and they write down their answers,
Mhm.
right? And there's moments of reflection and then they have to talk to each other and then they have to talk to me. So honestly, and I think people have loved that. I think that there's a craving for that with people nowadays because everything is moving to being pretty like AI led and like
Mhm.
technology led, that we're missing these human components. And so I think that's been really refreshing for people to be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't need my computer. Oh, I don't need my phone. We're not gonna." It's like, no, no, no. Like it's just humans in the room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been cool. But other than that, I don't know that I see a whole lot of new trends or technologies. AI is everywhere. But then for us, it's been cool to kind of dial it back in an analog way also. So
Yeah, and sometimes that's so necessary. I feel like especially when you're getting to like the core, like it sounds like a lot of it's taking it back and coming down to like really kind of recognizing the core of the culture and core of really like personally as you go through the program. At least that's what I'm thinking as you're explaining it to me and as
mhm.
I'm understanding. Like it really sounds like it's a lot of internal and how that affects the external within the culture of the business. And so that's really interesting. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as we talk more and more about the business, I'm wondering in regards of your business, what are some things that are going really well at LeadWell right now?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, m most of it feels like it's going well. There's a lot that so I'm a perfectionist in a lot of ways, like too much, and I'm the most critical of me, and, so there's a lot of things when I look around, I'm like, "Ah, this should be better, that could be better, I wish I did more of that, I need to make time for this," which is the nature, I think, of being a solopreneur a little bit, but, man, I have an executive assistant that's been helping me since, like, October, November. And that has changed the game for me and for us. Like, she brings a whole new set of eyes and just expertise and wisdom, and, she's just really incredible. And then honestly, the the clients that I have right now, they have been really, really fun because they're like-minded, they want this.
Yeah.
And so that's really fun for me. It's really hard when I can tell that someone's like, "We're just checking a box. We don't really care that you're here."
Yeah.
'Cause then I'm like, "Oh, well, this is not fun for me."
Yeah.
Like, this isn't gonna, 'cause, like, to your point earlier, like, I really love doing things that feel like they matter and are gonna leave an impact, and, that the time was meaningful. So all my clients right now, I feel like are really engaged, and, like, I keep getting really encouraging positive feedback from them about how it's working and about how it's helping them and how they're enjoying it and how it's they are learning. And so that's going really well right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and again, it's a early stage of the business. We just started our third year, but I feel like now that I'm starting to get more inbound, leads where people are going, "Hey, I want to talk about this. I want to hear about this."
Mhm.
Whereas early on, like everybody else who starts anything, it was all just outbound. I'm trying to get in front of as
Yeah,
many people as
yeah.
possible. And so that's encouraging to be like, okay, maybe the days of constantly having to be outbound are coming to a little bit of a close, which is cool. But yeah, things are good. I'm really happy with where we're at.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. That's really exciting. It's yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to see more and more how it's gonna pan out and how you guys are gonna grow. And but talking about the good, it's always interesting to talk about challenges too. And so every business faces challenges. I'm wondering if maybe you could share a past challenge that you faced in your business and what'd you learn from that?
Yeah, good question. Um, there's a lot I could say about this. A lot of it feels challenging. I think as someone who is trying to do the work in the business and own the business and think about the future of the business, like all doing all of those things is hard for me. Again, I'm not really good at the seeing the future of the thing. And so people will ask, well, what do you see? What do you want it to be? What are your goals? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. And so sometimes I feel, I don't know if it's insecure or just like the uncertainty of that feels like a challenge to me. But I'm also, when I'm not in my head about it, yeah, I'm great. I'm fine with that. Um, but as you're asking the question, and as I had looked at them earlier, one thing that was a fun challenge was I had a an opportunity to work with a, startup in the financial tech space, and they were based out of New York City, but also had team members, in Spain and in Northern California and Southern California and Chicago, and the industry and the kind of team that it was, this, startup of young and hungry guys that were, in the tech space, and things were moving at light speed and a lot of money's at play, and um they reached out about doing a full day of workshops, almost an intensive with them, taking them through a bunch of stuff. And that was I was so nervous about that because I was like, I've never been around this crowd before. I and then I was, you know, as I was preparing for it and even afterwards, I was like, I hope that felt helpful for them. 'Cause they're so used to, moving and moving, and it was like, "Hey, we're not accomplishing a lot right now. We're slowing down, and I need you to be present." Right? And so for them, I felt like it was really hard for them to do that, to slow down. And so then me facilitating that time felt hard. I enjoyed the challenge of it, but also felt challenging. But also as I look back, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm getting to experience those things because then I'm learning and growing when it comes to how do I meet people where they are, serve them in the ways that they need, bring an impact into whatever the team is, whether it's a startup or it's established or it's small business or it's, I had a couple of conversations recently with a couple of Fortune 500 companies. It's like that's a different beast, and so it's like that would be a different
Mhm.
challenge. Especially if they want to scale something to a larger part of the organization or even,
Yeah.
Lord willing, the whole company, that would be a challenge I haven't faced before. So, but I those things get me excited because it's like I know that there's a lot of growing and learning that happens in those spaces, and
Yeah.
it'll only be good for me and for us. So,
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, and that's awesome to hear, like, tackling that challenge, having growth, in the moment, and I don't know if, like, are there any, like, current challenges you're having with, like, in regards of, like, running the business, any, like, bottlenecks or anything taking up too much time or anything like that?
I mean, sure, there's things I don't like doing and don't want to do, right? Like I don't want to spend time working on QuickBooks things. Like I don't want to work on finances and receipts and all that stuff. I don't want to have to put together invoices and send invoices to people. So there's a lot of the admin things, which has been really neat having my executive assistant. I'm handing off a lot of things to her, and she's helping actually build out a lot of like SOPs for us and just playbooks for different things because it's all just lived in my head, you know? And so she's really helping with a lot of that. But man, there's a lot of those things I don't enjoy. And I don't enjoy like sales. I don't enjoy out like trying to like initiate outbound sales conversations, like cold sales. I don't want to do it. I don't like it, but I know I need to. And so there's all kinds of things like that that are challenging, and even trying to think through lead generation of like, okay, staying on top of, wait, when did I talk to them last? Am I forgetting anybody? So, I mean, everything is always living in my head and and I have different methods for how to keep track of everything and stay on top of everything, but, I'm sure things slip through the cracks. So, yeah, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of challenges.
Yeah, it sounds like you're handling it well though, and so that is exciting. It definitely is a challenge of, getting, what the operations of what's in your head, into those procedures. And so that is exciting though, because then it just leaves a puts out a lot of clarity, right? And it puts out the opportunity to grow and scale, right?
Mhm.
And so, when you think about the future, and you think about, I know you said you're not really like, set goals here and there, but like, are there, when you think about this next year, is there anywhere that you would want to be by the end of the year, or, in regards of growth, or
Yeah.
what that looks like?
Yeah. So, I guess there are a couple things. There's like um we have like a revenue goal for this year that my first couple years I was like I don't even know what's an appropriate revenue goal because this is brand new. And so my first year was like I just want to replace my church salary. If I can replace my and again, that just meant revenue, so that didn't even mean necessarily income, but it's like if I can have people pay for my services and that pay equals what I was making in my job, then that feels like a good goal. But I was like, I don't know what else to do. And then year 2 was like, I again, I had a hard time. People were like, "Well, like, what's your goal?" I'm like, "I don't know, more than last year." It's like, um, and, the Lord was super kind, and we did, like, more than double of year 1, which was cool. And so now it's like, okay, we have a little bit of like a trajectory here. Let's set an aggressive goal. And if we fall a little bit short, that's still great. And if we hit it, incredible. So it's like I think I feel more confident in being able to set some of those kinds of goals. And so we have an aggressive one, but excited to see what comes of it. And then also I think another goal is eventually finding another coach to bring on board to share some of the workload in terms of the actual coaching with clients. And then, so, a challenge will be how to navigate um, getting them folded in and how to pay them appropriately and how to set goals for them and expectations. And so that'll be new. I think that's something that I'm thinking about. And then also as I'm thinking about the future, there's some things I want to do that we haven't done before. Like I'm going to go to a small business conference full of decision makers at small businesses around the country. So I haven't done that before, but we're doing that this year.
Yeah.
Trying to get in front of more people, and then I am wanting to start this like local leadership collective here in kind of North Austin that is almost like a quarterly gathering of leaders in the community, just for connection and resourcing and equipping and encouraging and challenging. And so I don't know that anything like that exists like what I wanna do. Here, a buddy of mine's doing this right now in Northwest Arkansas, and it looks incredible, and so I'm trying to learn as much as I can from what he's built and am working towards maybe starting our first one in the fall here in Austin. So there are some, like, near future goals that feel like things I want to work towards and want to do, um, but that's about as far as my mind lets me go.
Yeah,
So,
no, that is exciting. That is cool. It's cool to hear just like the plan to grow, and the plan to get there, and you focus on this section and this section, and especially like adding new people like that
yeah.
leaves like a huge opportunity to scale, adding another coach, and like as you grow and you get more opportunities, and it starts coming together. That's like really exciting. And I feel like when you starting a business, it's like, yeah, the first year or two is just like you're trying to get it all figured out,
Yep.
dialed in, get it ready. And then after that, it's like, all right, it's time to scale and grow. And it sounds like that's where you're at, is like focusing on, polishing it out and scaling. And so that's exciting. It's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
in regards of like, just to kind of dive a little bit more, in regards of the, bringing people on, is there like a specific type of like revenue where you're like, at this revenue, I'll, bring so and so on, or is it like a time thing, or just to kind of dive into it a little bit
Yeah,
more?
it's probably more of a calendar thing. Once my calendar feels like it's getting too full,
Mm,
right? Where it's like, I'm not able to run at the pace that I want to.
yeah.
I'm not able to be as present at home as I have been and want to be. And so, which means probably good things are happening in our business, but that means it's
Yeah.
time to multiply my
Yeah.
capacity, right? Um, And so I imagine that would come with it some kind of, revenue goal, but I don't know what that number would be.
Yeah.
But and that'll probably be more of like a qualitative feel than a
Mm,
actual quantitative, like, oh, okay, we're at this number. It's time to, it'll probably be more like how it feels and how my
yeah.
calendar looks. It's like, okay, there's too much going on. I need some help. Because I don't wanna say no, things are moving in the right direction. I don't wanna
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
stifle what's happening, so I need to add somebody. And so, um, yeah, we're not there, but we could be there maybe at the end of this year or as early
Yeah.
as 2027, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's exciting, really exciting. And just to hear like how like awesome like it sounds like the program is, and just like what you're offering and what it can bring,
Yeah, it's
like the
great.
impact it has on businesses. So it really is so cool. It really excited to see just how it grows and where it's going. And so yeah, well, Brett, I really think a lot of the insights you've given, a lot of just sharing your story and sharing your business with the platform has been awesome. I think it's really valuable. I think a lot of the people listening will definitely have, be hopefully be interested in reaching out. I'm wondering if you can share where they can, reach out to you, where they can find you, learn more about your services.
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, of course. So, my website is letsleadwell.com. And then I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so you can find me, Brett Miles. Last name's Myles. You can find me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect, set up calls, hear about what's going on, how I can help, or even just learn more about what you're doing. So yeah, those are the best ways. All my contact info and scheduling with me and who we are and what we do and how we do it, why we do it, is on our website at letsleadwell.com. But they can also, yeah, reach out on LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah, awesome. Well, to close, I would like to ask one last question. Since this is the Business Leaders Legacy podcast, and you being the owner and founder of LeadWell, can you please share what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Yeah, great question. So for me, it's all about what I'm leaving to my family. Right, and then the impact that I'm leaving on the people that I got to work with. So, as somebody who, like, is a Christian who loves the Lord, like, the legacy would be that, man, my time with Brett and with LeadWell had significant impact on how I show up and how I live my life and how my relationships look. Like, that would be an incredible thing for me to be remembered for. And then also, I think for my kids, to grow up and feel like they were loved unconditionally, but also really prepared for what it's like to live in the world and what it looks like to love God and to walk with Him. And so, yeah, I think it's those things. You know, the people that I get the opportunity to be with, that there's some kind of mark or impact that's felt.
Yeah. No, that is so honorable. That really is. It is encouraging. I feel like yeah, I'm in a very similar place. I have very similar values where I want to leave the same kind of impact. And so it is so encouraging to hear that. And awesome. It sounds like you're doing it. And so thank you for your time, Brett. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you just sharing and being open and yeah, it's been awesome. And so thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe, like, share, follow. We appreciate it. Thank you again.